plan. As you would have saw from the eye roll in the previous video of squats, just only squatting 60 kilos didn't feel amazing. I think I'm fighting a little bit of a bug and there's a little bit of knee niggle. I've got some history with an ITB issue, but the point I wanted to hammer home is less about me and more about you. So what can you do as a best next fit for training if you are either sick or you're injured? You want to have a bit of a look at what the previous week looks like, maybe what the focus of the program looks like. So for me right now, it's a little bit more intense. Like I've got some interval days and stuff like that, as opposed to prepping for an ultra where it's going to be a lot more volume based. So the main string I'm going to be pulling on is intensity. You're already giving up a heap of resources to try and recover from that. So the last thing we want to do is put ourselves in the hole even further. In a gym context, trying to continue to add more weight, so increase and improve my strength, is going to be another form of increasing intensity, which is probably going to be a bad idea for recovery. I was meant to hit a strength session in here today, so continuing to increase weight is a form of increased intensity, so that would be a bad idea. I think a good plan B, and what I was hoping to get through, but just some of this discomfort in the knee, it's not a smart idea to continue, was implementing some isometrics. So I was going to reduce the weight at which I was going to squat. I was hoping to work up to, maybe 130s, 135s for some triples or something like that. I was probably going to scale that back to, 100, 110 kilos and just do some isometrics. So you could set some pins up in the rack here and you unrack the bar at a lower height and then you drive up into the bar as if you're trying to extend, but everything is still bent at the hip and knees, and you're just trying to push as hard as you can up into those pins. So it's just one long, strong contraction. So you'd hold that for maybe 6 to 10 seconds and then re-rack the weight. So that still gets a whole heap of what we call neural drive. It hammers home a lot of the connection from the brain to the muscles and the signaling, which we call the central nervous system. So that's a good way to avoid the muscular stress of lengthening and shortening a muscle, which is what we do in the weight room. So that is a good plan B, but I didn't even get to execute plan B. And then obviously I want to avoid the intensity of the interval sessions that I have coming up. So I will not be trying to squeeze that in the morning. I've got the kids tomorrow anyway, so I'm better off saving my energy and putting my focus into my family. And that's probably the other thing that we want to look to circle off. Is this actually going to affect my life missing out on this session? If you're someone who struggles to get 2 or 3 sessions in a week, ditching a session is between 30 and 50% of your weekly training volume. So it holds more significance. And this isn't to guilt you, it's just to put into perspective what missing a session means. For me, today, missing this session, this is actually the first day I haven't trained in just over 30 days. So again, my circumstances are different, and I don't say this to belittle anyone that doesn't train like me, but missing one day out of a 7-day week is a far smaller percentage of my total weekly volume. So I've got more wiggle room because my body is used to sustaining a higher volume. So that is the benefit of developing these habits to then be able to train in that way. So they're just some things that are worth taking into consideration. But again, we've got to look at the bigger picture. You're a parent, you're juggling work, you're juggling a relationship, this, that, and the other. In the grand scheme of things, is missing an hour or 2 of your training week going to ruin things? No. It may mean you just have to reformulate expectations and just be a bit more patient before you reach that said goal.
Well, today's Wednesday. I ended up taking yesterday off, not doing any of my higher intensity intervals. Still not feeling 100%. Was feeling pretty lousy yesterday. Feels like my tonsils are a little bit swollen even this morning. I'm going to err on the side of caution and not run again today. I normally do a double day today, so just about to hit an upper body lift. My energy is still feeling pretty okay in that respect. I think seeing as though I only lift upper body once a week at the moment, just as sort of like a maintenance thing and just through sheer enjoyment as well, I still just want to tick that box. And this is more about just continuing on that habit forming and probably a bit more psychological pleasure than anything that's really going to shift the needle performance-wise. I usually do this upper body session at my workplace in the Strength Sanctuary, but you know, I've got to change a few things because my garage setup obviously isn't as extensive as a fully fit out gym. But I just wanted to give some guidance if someone finds themselves in this position, or maybe they've got their program and they walk into a gym and they get a little bit overwhelmed because, you know, a piece of equipment that's on their program might be taken or something like that. Just think of the direction that you're trying to train in. So if I've got a barbell overhead press, what are some other ways that I can mimic that overhead press? So it's a vertical press. If I'm normally doing a plate loaded chest press, don't have one of those here. So I could easily do a dumbbell press or even just some barbell bench press. And the same goes in reverse. If you've got some free weight exercises that are on your program and everything's been taken with respect to dumbbells and barbells, could you just use a machine for today? You know, so think more about the direction that you're training in. So whether it's a vertical press, a horizontal press, a vertical pull, so chin ups or lat pull downs, you know, is it unilateral or bilateral? There's other ways that you can still get that stimulus in. So, you know, if you had a bent over barbell row, but there's nothing available to you, could you do a dumbbell single arm row? Like, it's still a rowing action. You're just coming up with different ways to still train that same motion. So I guess, yeah, it may seem simple, but you may also be one of those people who is married to the program. And if you don't follow it verbatim, you feel like you're betraying the process. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. Your physiology doesn't understand the program that you've got written. It just understands the stimulus that you apply to it. It's another day of compromises. Still not feeling the greatest, so just pretty much written off the week as far as trying to hit any standards or markers that I had planned for this week. It's more about just keeping things moving. But again, this is just to sort of showcase for, you know, younger parents or just parents at large that are similar to me, that it is fucking okay. Like, we're never gonna have these perfect weeks, but how can we strategize around them? So, you know, today's normally a balance of some strength work, so some top end strength work with the trap bar. I've got some higher volume stuff at the moment, just while my running volume isn't crazy high. So some RDLs at like 8 to 10 reps. I'll ditch those this week. I'll do some seated hamstring curls, just to take a little bit of like whole systemic load off, because it's a bit more isolative. So it's not quite as stressful from like a CNS perspective and recovery perspective, because I still haven't run this week. So I'll reintroduce that tomorrow, assuming that I continue to feel better again. I have slowly been feeling better. So yeah, I'll knock off a few kilos, probably less than a few kilos on the trap bar and a few reps as well. Do the isolative work on the hamstring curl, and then I'll just maintain the shrimp squats. You know, they're just a bodyweight exercise, still promotes good range of motion at ankles, knees, and all that sort of hip stability work that I'm still trying to get the benefits for all the running side of things. But outside of that, then I'll just sort of cap the session just so I'm not dragging it out either. So they're probably the biggest takeaways is, you know, consolidate the intense part of your workout. Is there a substitute that you can make from like a bit more of is there something that you can substitute from, say, like a barbell exercise where you're carrying a lot of load to a bit more isolated, but you're still training similar muscle groups? And then, you know, can you just keep a little bit of accessory work that might still have some carryover somewhere else? They're the three main points, and you play on. Keep focusing on recovery as best you can.
Do you know how I do the higher step-ups? It's to target the glutes. Is that right? Thank you.
More hip flexion, yeah. Brilliant. And again, I haven't seen the bar speed or what that looked like, but you need to sort of go off RPE as well and how that felt. That felt heavy. I mean, not back breaking heavy or like I was going to get injured. Just, yeah, you can feel the extra effort I'm having to apply to get it done. So yeah, it's definitely the right call. Peeling back some of the intensity. You know, it is a juggling act. For me to stand here and say that this is the absolute best practice, you know, I'm just going off feel of more than a decade experience now and still piecing all this running together as well. You know, it's a balancing act, but it's that curiosity that continues to spur me along and not deter me. So I guess that's how I operate in these circumstances and trying to avoid feeling too melancholy for myself.
So we're just about to head out for what I'm going to term is a shakeout run after last night. We went to my wife's work ball, and you know, we've got a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. She's had a couple of drinks at a Christmas party, but last night she got fucking turned.
I did. Yeah, that's one word for it.
Are you excited for this run though?
No, like, nah. But I think it's going to be good.
So in your head, you think this is going to solve all your problems?
Yeah, I reckon this will just like reset everything like I never had a beverage.
Okay, you've heard it here first. If you're just struggling, you're down in the dumps, just run your problems away. It's never led to any injury or anything, you know? So, you know, just remember that. How are you feeling, love?
Better than I thought. My brain stopped rattling around in my skull as much. But we're not moving fast. I'm not chatty.
No, not chatty. This one can talk under concrete too, so you know something's wrong.
Something's up.
When all you can hear is her breathing.
Look, gupping.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a nice way to round out the week. Spend some time together. So I guess that's the core message. Today's message is about love. Spend time with those that you love, and don't worry about all of your Strava and Garmin data, because no one really gives a fuck.
Peace.